So guys, today I wanted to talk about 3 nations that you probably should stay away from the grind in the aircraft department. I'm gonna take into account many things. I'm not saying that these nations are bad nations to have, you know, they're just not really that worth it compared to other nations that we have in the game. It would be basically a 3-list nation that you probably should leave it at the end of your grinding run after you got many of the other ones that you wanted, okay? And they are very specific on why they are in this list. So I'm gonna say their name and then the reason. So we start off with the Israelis. Yes, the Israelis, I think, in 3rd position are a nation that it's, although very quick to get you to a top tier situation, it is still a nation that is filled with technically what you can call a copy-paste. Even the Kafirs, which are probably the most unique aircraft you have there, they're basically just Mirage 3s that are heavily upgraded, right? So at the end of the day, you are pretty much just having a tech tree that have aircraft that are used in other tech trees. So it's not really worth it because of that. Again, there is a positive side to it, that it's one of the quickest ones for you to get to the top tier ranks, but even when you get to those top tiers, it is pretty much the same aircraft or worse aircraft, even depending on situation, compared to, for example, the US. They're literally the same or worst. So if you are considering, grinding the Israelis, get the US because they will have more unique stuff. It is a lot more worth it. The next one, in 2nd position, I have to talk about the Swedish. Yes, the Swedish, guys. Although it is a very unique nation, so it's basically the opposite of the Israelis. It has a whole tech tree of basically being 90% unique aircraft that you don't have in any other tech tree. You still have a little bit of copy-paste in the Finnish subtree. There's nothing really that much there. But the problem that I see with the Swedish is that it's not a very easy philosophy of aircraft to fly sometimes. It's not for everybody. The Viggens, the Drakens, the Lansings, the J29s, even the Gripens, they're not for everybody, right? That's the first little thing. But the main thing is that there's basically a problem with the future of the tech tree, right? If you really take into account even 5th generation jets to be added in this tech tree, you will probably only have like 3 aircraft to be added, like the F-18 for the Swedish or for the Finnish, right? The Gripen E variant, and then the F-35 for the Finnish, right? Even if they add the Norwegians as a subtree to it, it would mean that you would have F-16s and F-5s and stuff, but it wouldn't have anything unique that it's really, really different from any other nation and really be worth it. So in the uniqueness side of things, it is an amazing tech tree, but future-proof, it's not really future-proof. You know, it's a tech tree that you're gonna get a lot of things, that are cool and different from other nations, although the Gripens, they are in many other nations, and there's another reason, that is another reason why you should just basically go for another nation for now. But basically looking into the future, it will take a long time for this aircraft to receive a lot of aircraft. And even, I don't know, maybe in the next update, it gets an F-18 finally, right, with the Finnish. But then after that, what is there? Okay, the Gripen E. But after that, well, there's the F-35, but so basically there's 2 aircraft that can be added, right? Unless they add another subtree, and if they add another subtree, it's filled with copy-paste. So it's kind of a tech tree that if you like Sweden very much, yes, it is obviously worth it. If you love the design and everything of their aircraft, it is very cool no matter what, they're very unique and very cool. But besides that, if you are trying to get something that it's really meta or something like that, Sweden is not really a country for you, probably. Although they are very good in their respective BRs, they have a learning curve on their aircraft. They are very unique, even in the play style that you gotta have with them. And at the end of the day, like I said, if you're gonna remain at the Swedish, you're gonna lack a lot of options in the future. Something that the final nation that I want to talk about here lacks a lot. And that is Japan. Yes, Japan, guys. Japan I have to put in the first nation as being probably the least worth it. And again, you have a lot of unique aircraft up to rank 4 or even 5, but after that it's 100% basically, apart from the T2 and F1, copy paste, you know, the Alpha Jets, the F5s, the F-16s, the Gripens, the AV-8S, the A7, the F-16, the F-4s and the F-15s, they are all aircraft that are in other tech trees. Of course, here you will have different missiles, different radars, different everything, right? So apart from that, apart from the minor changes here and there in the aircraft that they have already, there will not be anything else to be added, right, in that regard. So basically, you will have a very unique tech tree up to rank 4 or even 5, depending on the aircraft that you get. And then afterwards, it is a lot of copy paste. Of course, remember guys, all of these nations, if you're grinding the tanks and everything, of course you're gonna get these aircraft. But I mean, if you are starting the game, if you are only having, you only have the US as a top tier, or getting to the US top tier, for example, or even 2 nations, you have the US, Germany, the USSR. These 3 nations are the ones you probably should stay away a little bit, get other nations first, and then go for it, right? Because, like I said, even with the Swedish and the Israelis, I mean, look at Japan, guys. It is a nation that, of course, I have a feeling that in a very soon future, we will have the Mitsubishi F2, right? Which is kind of a unique aircraft to it. But at the end of the day, it is an F-16. And then what is else out there after that? Nothing. There's nothing, right? There is maybe another F-15 for, like, being the JSI, the Japanese Super Interceptor. And then what? An F-35? And then that's it, right? So unless they add more sub-trees, I think the sub-tree that they added with the Thai, although it's filled with copy-paste, it fixed the problem that the Japanese didn't have any options in the rank 5 up to rank 7, right? So they added a lot of options out there. Literally, I mean, they had like 1 aircraft at rank 7. Now they have like 5. So yeah, you can complain about the copy paste there, but at least he fixed the problem. So again, I mean, they can add another subtree there for another Asian nation and fix that problem as well, future proof and everything. But at the end of the day, it's still going to take a lot of time for that to be added. And even when aircraft are added here, they're gonna be very similar to other things, right? So if you don't like I mean, there's only one option I see here if you really love the Mitsubishi F2. Everything else, there's not really a reason for you to get, okay? And the Japanese tech tree probably is the one that in the higher ranks, like I said, after rank 5, it's the nation that has the least amount of interesting aircraft because it's filled with copy-paste, and it's basically what they can have. It's problematic, indeed. There's nothing else they can do to add there. Of course, with the props and stuff, it's very interesting and fun, but after the props, it's really, really hard to find stuff that can be added right there. And just to give a reason why I didn't add some other nations, for example, the French, guys. The French, they have uniqueness, they have a lot of aircraft, they have a little bit of copy paste, but especially in the props and some other aircraft, but it's not a lot. And in the jets, they are very unique to themselves. You know, they have very specific aircraft for them, and they have one of the best aircraft in the game, which is the Rafale. We will have a lot of versions of the Rafale. In the future, we can even have an F-35 being added to the subtree for the Belgians and Dutch, you know, so there is that. The Italians, yes, the Italians are not that future-proof as well, but they will have F-35s, and they have the Eurofighter, which is one of the best, most unique aircraft you can have in a tech tree. And below that, it's filled with copy-paste, but it is unique enough that it's worth to get. And they will probably have the Romanians coming soon as well, I would say, right? The Chinese, a lot of copy paste, 100% copy paste up to the higher tiers, but it has a lot of potential for the future. A lot of 5th generation jets that are different, a lot of 4.5 generation jets that are different. So it's worth to actually think about getting the Chinese. The British, the same. They have a very unique tech tree throughout the tech tree itself. They have the Typhoon, they have the Gripen. Technically, they can even have a Rafale in the future. So they will have 4th generation, 4+ generation, 5th generation in the future. The Russians, the US, of course, both these nations, they are the nations that produce the most amount of aircraft and models, you know. So, of course, you will see a lot of models coming out of these 2 nations. And, of course, the Germans, although it is a country that, yeah, it lacks the options for the future, but it has the Eurofighter, man. The Eurofighter is amazing. And of course, up to rank 5 and even 6, you have a lot of unique aircraft on that tech tree. The rank 7 is a little bit, you know, copy paste, but at the end of the day, rank like up to 6, it's pretty good on that regard. You know, it's pretty fun. The World War II stuff, it's just very, very cool. And of course, at rank 8, they have some uniqueness as well. They have future-proof being added to as the Swiss aircraft, as the Eurofighter, as more Eurofighters, right, as F-35s. So at the end of the day, I think this is it, okay? These are the 3 nations that you should stay away from. And see you guys on the next one. Make sure to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, and bye guys, see ya.